Welcome to Underworld UK, where Britain's darkest stories are brought to light. From the gritty streets of gangland London, Liverpool, Manchester and Birmingham, from Curtis Warren to the Cray twins to county lines and modern-day true crime, we cover everything. Bringing you new videos every week. Subscribe so that you'll be notified when the next video is put out.
Before we begin, it is important to note that this video discusses allegations that are currently the subject of active criminal proceedings. Andrew and Tristan Tate have both denied all allegations made against them and are entitled to the presumption of innocence. Nothing in this documentary should be interpreted as a statement of guilt. This video is presented for educational and documentary purposes using publicly available reporting, court documents, official statements, and public reactions surrounding this developing case. On a warm weekend in Miami, two of the internet's most recognizable and controversial figures found themselves once again at the center of international headlines. Handcuffed, shackled at the waist and ankles, and wearing matching tan gel uniforms, Andrew and Tristan Tate were led into a federal courthouse in Florida after being arrested by US Marshals. Within minutes, footage of the arrest had spread across social media, accumulating millions of views and igniting fierce debate around the world. But this time, it wasn't just another internet controversy. British prosecutors had announced an additional 38 charges against the brothers, bringing the total number of allegations to 59 involving 7 alleged victims. The charges include allegations of rape, arranging or facilitating trafficking for sexual exploitation, sexual assault, assault occasioning actual bodily harm, and offences relating to indecent images of children and extreme pornography. The allegations span more than a decade and involve incidents alleged to have occurred in the United Kingdom between 2010 and 2017. And yet, as the arrest footage circulated online, much of the internet appeared distracted by something else entirely. One commenter wrote, "Getting arrested in yoga pants and a Satan disco shirt is nasty work." Another joked, "Is he wearing his wife's pants?" Others questioned the authenticity of the arrest itself, with one person writing, "This may be the fakest arrest I've seen in my life." In many ways, the public reaction perfectly encapsulates the Andrew Tate phenomenon. For years, he has existed at the intersection of celebrity, controversy, and internet culture. A man capable of generating millions of views, regardless of whether the story involves luxury cars, political opinions, or now, one of the most significant criminal cases involving a social media personality in recent memory. So, how did two brothers from Luton become the subjects of criminal investigations spanning multiple countries? And perhaps more importantly, has the internet become so consumed by personalities and memes that it no longer pays attention to the allegations themselves? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, but please remember to keep all discussion respectful. These proceedings remain active, and ultimately, it will be for the courts, not social media, to determine the outcome. Andrew and Tristan Tate were born in the United States before moving to Luton, England, as children. Over the years, Andrew in particular built a vast online following by promoting a lifestyle centered around wealth, masculinity, and success. His supporters view him as someone who challenged mainstream narratives and encouraged men to become more disciplined and ambitious. His critics, meanwhile, have long argued that his rhetoric crossed the line, accusing him of promoting misogynistic attitudes toward women. Regardless of where people stand, few would dispute one thing. Andrew Tate became one of the most influential and divisive figures on the internet. That influence has only amplified public interest in every legal development surrounding him. On July 18th, 2026, that interest reached new heights. US Marshals arrested the brothers in Miami after British authorities formally requested their extradition. Less than 48 hours later, the pair stood before a federal magistrate at the Wilkie D. Ferguson Junior Courthouse. When asked if they understood their rights, both men reportedly replied in unison, "Yes, Your Honour." According to official statements from the Crown Prosecution Service, Andrew Tate now faces an additional 32 charges, while Tristan Tate faces 6 further charges. The CPS stated that these charging decisions followed receipt of a further file of evidence from Bedfordshire Police and increased the number of alleged victims connected to the case to 7. Malcolm McAfee, head of the Special Crime Division at the CPS, stated that prosecutors had decided to bring further charges, including rape, arranging or facilitating trafficking for sexual exploitation, and offences relating to indecent images of a child. At the same time, Bedfordshire Police urged the public not to speculate, reminding everyone that criminal proceedings are active and that all defendants are entitled to a fair trial. Despite that warning, speculation online exploded almost immediately. Supporters claimed the brothers were the targets of a coordinated campaign. "They've been through this before," one commenter wrote. "Nothing ever sticks." Another added, "It's the media after clicks." Others took a very different view. "These dudes get arrested all over the world and it ain't for being some alpha influencer," one person commented. Think about it. Meanwhile, another viewer summed up the mood of many observers by writing, "People don't care what the charges are. The internet just wants to make fun of his clothes." And perhaps that comment captures the strange reality of the modern age. A case involving international extradition, allegations spanning several years, and multiple law enforcement agencies had somehow become a viral discussion about fashion choices, police vehicles, and internet memes. But behind the jokes, the legal process continued. Prosecutors in the United Kingdom are seeking to extradite the brothers so they can answer the charges in a British court. Their legal team has made it clear that they intend to oppose extradition at every stage, maintaining that both men are innocent. Their attorney, Joseph McBride, described the proceedings as a political witch hunt and argued that his clients were being targeted for their views rather than any criminal conduct. Whether people agree with that assessment or not, one fact remains unchanged. The next chapter of this story will not be written on X, Facebook, or YouTube. It will be written in court. So what happens next? Will US courts approve the extradition request? Will British prosecutors ultimately secure convictions? Or will the brothers successfully defend themselves against every allegation? And after years of investigations, arrests, and headlines across multiple countries, is this finally the case that defines the Tate brothers' legacy? Let me know your thoughts below. Do you believe this is a legitimate pursuit of justice? Or do you believe the Tate brothers are being unfairly targeted? Whatever your opinion, remember that these proceedings are ongoing, and everyone involved deserves the right to a fair and impartial legal process. To understand why this latest arrest has generated such extraordinary attention, it is necessary to look back at the timeline that brought the Tate brothers to this point. For years, Andrew Tate cultivated an image unlike almost any other internet personality. Luxury cars, private jets, expensive watches, and an unapologetic approach to discussing masculinity became his trademark. Millions followed him online, while millions more criticized him. By the early 2020s, he had become impossible to ignore. His supporters viewed him as a self-made entrepreneur who was challenging conventional thinking. His detractors viewed him as someone who had built an empire on controversy. In truth, Andrew Tate's rise demonstrated something unique about the digital age. The more criticism he received, the larger his audience appeared to become. But fame comes with scrutiny. In 2022, authorities in Romania launched an investigation into the Tate brothers. Those proceedings remain separate from the British case and continue to attract significant international attention. Now, In 2026, prosecutors in the United Kingdom have announced further charges linked to 4 additional alleged victims, dramatically increasing the scope of the case. According to the Crown Prosecution Service, the allegations relate to incidents said to have taken place between July 2010 and August 2017. For investigators, this represents years of evidence gathering across multiple jurisdictions. For the Tate brothers, it represents another major legal battle. And for the public, it raises an obvious question. How does a case involving allegations spanning more than a decade eventually reach the point of an international extradition request? The answer, according to prosecutors, lies in years of investigation involving Bedfordshire Police, the Crown Prosecution Service, and cooperation between authorities in multiple countries. Yet despite the seriousness of the allegations, public discourse remains deeply divided. Some viewers remain convinced the brothers are being unfairly targeted. They're American citizens, one supporter wrote online. This is political. Another stated, why can't they just leave these brothers alone? Others, however, questioned why supporters continue to dismiss the allegations altogether. Can't believe everyone is talking about what they're wearing and not the charges, one commenter wrote. That sentiment was echoed thousands of times across social media. And perhaps that's what makes this case so fascinating from a documentary perspective. This is no longer simply a criminal investigation. It has become a cultural phenomenon. Few criminal cases in recent memory have inspired such passionate disagreement. To some, Andrew Tate represents resistance against mainstream institutions. To others, he represents the dangers of influencer culture and unchecked celebrity. Somewhere in the middle sits the legal system, attempting to separate opinion from evidence. That process is now entering another critical phase. At the centre of the latest developments are the extradition proceedings themselves. Extradition is not a determination of guilt or innocence. Instead, the court must decide whether the legal requirements have been met for the brothers to be transferred to the United Kingdom to face the charges. Legal experts expect the process to be heavily contested. The brothers' attorney has repeatedly stated they will oppose extradition, while British authorities have confirmed they intend to pursue it. In practical terms, that means the coming weeks and months could determine where this case is ultimately heard. And while lawyers prepare their arguments, millions continue to debate the story online. One individual wrote, "Who is he? And why is he always getting arrested?" Another joked, "So wait, they ride in Cadillac police cars now? What kind of mafia is this?" Others remained skeptical altogether. "This doesn't look real to me," one commenter wrote. It's an unusual aspect of modern criminal proceedings. Before many people even read the charges, they have already watched a 10-second clip, formed an opinion, and moved on. So here's a question for you. Has social media fundamentally changed how we consume criminal cases? Do people care more about viral moments than the facts? Leave a comment below and let me know. Meanwhile, official statements paint a very different picture from the memes and jokes circulating online. The Crown Prosecution Service has emphasised that the charging decisions were made following receipt of additional evidence from Bedfordshire Police. Malcolm McAfee, head of the Special Crime Division, confirmed that prosecutors intend to pursue extradition proceedings in relation to both the original charges and the newly authorised allegations. Bedfordshire Police, meanwhile, urged restraint. Assistant Chief Constable Correna Thomas reminded the public that active proceedings require careful reporting and stressed that everyone involved is entitled to a fair legal process. That warning is worth repeating. At the time of this recording, none of these allegations have been proven in court. Andrew and Tristan Tate deny wrongdoing and remain entitled to the presumption of innocence. Ultimately, the burden of proof rests entirely with prosecutors. The significance of this case extends beyond the individuals involved. Regardless of the outcome, legal historians may one day look back on these proceedings as one of the defining criminal cases involving social media personalities. Never before have allegations, legal filings, live stream clips, podcasts, memes, and public opinion become so intertwined. In many ways, the Tate brothers are among the first truly global internet celebrities to face legal scrutiny on this scale. Their audience spans continents, their influence reaches millions, and every development generates headlines around the world. That reality creates a difficult environment for everyone involved. Can a fair trial still exist when millions have already formed opinions? Can jurors remain impartial after years of media coverage? And has internet culture made it impossible for society to separate allegations from entertainment? These are questions that extend far beyond this case. As proceedings continue in the United States, attention will inevitably shift toward the next hearing and the eventual decision regarding extradition. If extradition is approved, the brothers could be returned to Britain to face one of the most closely watched criminal proceedings in recent memory. If it is denied, prosecutors will need to consider their next steps. Either way, this story is far from over. And perhaps that is why public interest remains so intense. Because beneath the headlines, beneath the memes, and beneath the endless social media arguments lies a simple reality. 7 women have made allegations that prosecutors believe warrant criminal charges. 2 men categorically deny those allegations. And somewhere between those two positions lies the truth. A truth that only a court of law can ultimately determine. As always, I'd like to hear your thoughts. Do you believe the justice system will eventually provide clear answers in this case? Do you think social media has helped or harmed public understanding of criminal investigations? And after years of headlines involving the Tate brothers, do you believe this is the beginning of the end of their legal troubles? Or simply another chapter in a story that continues to unfold? Whatever your opinion, please keep the discussion respectful. This channel does not encourage harassment, abuse, or attempts to interfere with active proceedings. Our goal is simply to document significant criminal cases, explore public reaction, and provide a factual overview of events as they develop. Andrew and Tristan Tate continue to deny all allegations against them. The legal process remains ongoing, and until that process concludes, the final chapter of this extraordinary story has yet to be written. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you are a fan of true crime videos and crime news, give us a like and subscribe. That way you will be notified when we put a new video out, and you will also be playing your part in helping our channel grow. So thank you, and see you next time.
I'm Assistant Chief Constable Karina Thomas, lead for the Bedfordshire, Cambridgeshire and Hertfordshire Major Crime Unit. In 2024, the CPS authorised 21 charges against Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate following our investigation into allegations of sexual offences dating back to 2012. Following the initial charges being authorised, we have continued to investigate further offences reported to both Bedfordshire Police and Hertfordshire Constabulary. As a result, 38 new charges in total have now been authorised against Andrew and Tristan Tate, bringing the total number of charges faced to 59. The charges relate to 7 victims spanning a period from 2010 to 2017. Our officers have worked closely with the CPS and both national and international law enforcement agencies as part of this complex investigation. I can now confirm that officers from the United States have arrested both Andrew and Tristan Tate in relation to this matter, and they are being detained pending ongoing legal proceedings. We understand the interest that this case will generate, but we would urge the public not to speculate and to allow the legal process to be carried out correctly. I want to make it clear that there is no place for male violence against women and girls in our society, and we will continue to work tirelessly to support victims and investigate all reports made to us. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So today went as expected. There was never going to be any fireworks today. Today wasn't about controversy. Today was about just enforcing Mr. Tate's, Andrew and Tristan Tate's rights and objecting to the extradition process. We are, of course, objecting to extradition because Andrew and Tristan are innocent. They've never done nothing wrong. They shouldn't be extradited for crimes they did not commit. They're entitled to have their day of court that we've been litigating the case for 3 years in Palm Beach County in Florida. So we're fighting extradition. We've assembled a team here. These are from the Roy Black's prestigious firm. The Honorable and since passed on Roy Black, he's a legend, and they're here. They have joined our team. We have a competent team. We have a wonderful team. We're looking forward to getting the best possible result under the sun. Proceedings have now started in this courtroom, so I am less liberal with what I'm able to say. But if you have any questions for me, I'll do my best to answer them in a way that's respectful of your time, of our time, and of the court processes.
In the court, they acknowledge that the brothers.
Go ahead.
They acknowledge in court that the brothers reviewed the complaint and you were with them. Could you explain their first reaction to these allegations?
The allegations, their first reaction to the allegations is the first reaction that any innocent man or woman would have. It's garbage. It's a stitch-up job. They're after us to punish us with the process. The process is the punishment. When you drag somebody's name through the media, when you slander them, when you defame them, when you accuse them of heinous and terrible allegations, the process becomes the punishment until you can clear your name. They've been clearing their names domestically and abroad for years. This is just the next logical conclusion in that situation. Keir Starmer just retired or is retiring. I'm sure he's mad that Andrew and Tristan Tate had a lot to do with his fall in Great Britain. And there's a new guy in there right now. But this is the last vestige of attack of a prime minister who didn't do a good job, and he continues to do bad work. And I'll just leave it there. Innocent until proven guilty. We're going to let the court process play out here the way that it should. We're happy to be here.
Mr. McBride, the U.S.-UK treaty allows an exception for extradition if the charges are politically motivated.
Right.
What you're saying is
Politically motivated? I think any one of these trees, any one of these rocks could answer that question. Yes, it's politically motivated. There's no question about it. These guys went to D.C. to exercise their First Amendment rights. They met with members of Congress as private citizens. They met with friends in Washington, D.C. They walked the grounds of the Capitol, and 3 days later, they're in the jumpsuit. You do the math.
and that's the tool that you're going to use to get them free.
We have many tools. One of the ways that we'll argue, I'm not going to give away our entire arguments here, but we're certainly going to say that there are special circumstances. We're certainly going to use a totality of the circumstances argument, and that will be one of the things that we argue for certain.
Mr. McBride?
Yes, sir.
Ultimately, if the legal process goes towards extradition, it will be up to the Trump administration and the Secretary of State to decide to sign off on extradition. What do you believe the administration is seeing about this case?
Well, I appreciate your question. I see where you're going with it. You're fast forwarding to the end of the process. What's important to do now is focus on what's here and now, what's before us. We have to go in there. We have a conference coming up in a few days. We're going to set a briefing schedule. We'll make our arguments before the court. We'll see what this judge does. I don't want to make political statements about the administration when right now that's the executive branch and we're here in front of the judicial branch, and I want to be mindful and respectful of the people that we're in front of here.
But do you believe your clients have support from the administration?
I believe that my clients have support from every person who's a reasonably minded person, whether they're in the United States or abroad, elected or not elected. Everybody knows that Andrew and Tristan Tate are innocent.
Can I ask you one quick question?
Yes.
Tina Vasquez, local Friend News. I was listening to your interview earlier this morning.
It's okay.
It looks like you're positioning the charges within the framework of being politically motivated, but the charges themselves don't seem to have an intersection with politics. Can you flesh out a little bit more why you're positioning it?
Sure, you don't have to have an intersection between politics and criminal charges for there to be a stitch-up job here. The man that I voted for office, who's currently in office, had millions of charges slandered against him all over the place. Some of them he beat, some of them he didn't beat. Most people who understand the process know that that was a load of crap. Most people who see this for what it is know that it is the same exact thing. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Right, there were multiple women who claim that they were victims of the case. Are you saying that those women are politically motivated?
I'm not going to comment as to the women in any case. What I can say is that we have a defamation lawsuit against a false accuser that we're litigating successfully in Palm Beach County. That case is getting ready to go to trial. What I can say about the allegations in the United Kingdom, not a single solitary person has been identified. These are ghosts and these are phantoms. So we'd like to know who's accused Andrew and Tristan of what, and if we get there, then I can give you a reasonable-minded and intelligent comment about the potential allegations that come from these ladies.
One last point of clarification. In the interview this morning I listened to, you talked about your efforts, kind of forecasting how you plan to fight this if it doesn't go your way, and you said, I will heal all the way to the top of the food chain. Was that a reference to the President Donald Trump?
That was a reference to the Supreme Court. This is the judicial process. The top of the food chain is Clarence Thomas and the 8 other justices that abide there.
Mr. McBride, I missed it at the beginning. What was their initial reaction when the brothers were picked up?
Their initial reaction was, "What's going on?" We've been, in the United States, hanging out on multiple trips for a very long time. We haven't been accused of anything of substance here. We're American citizens. We operate freely. We operate as law-abiding people. We went to see our Congress people in D.C. and now we're getting arrested. This feels political, and of course they didn't like it. No innocent man likes getting taken to jail. It's a horrible situation, but we're going to do everything that we can do with this wonderful team that we've assembled here to get them out.
Counsel, what is their home residence? Is it Miami, a different state? Where do they call it?
We're trying to figure that out right now. Andrew and Tristan are citizens of the world. I think it's on public record that they've been in between Dubai and Romania for some years, and we will sort the rest of that out in due course.
Just for clarity purposes, the judge mentioned that this wasn't a criminal proceeding, but the extradition process hasn't begun. Where are we now, just legally, clarity-wise?
So yeah, this is not a criminal proceeding, and what the judge was talking about is that the Bail Reform Act isn't the operative law here. We're looking at the extradition process. This is the first small step in that process. There's a lawyers-only conference coming up in a few days. Our legal team will talk to the government will talk to our team, we'll converse with the judge, we'll set a briefing schedule for substantive arguments to be made at some point in the future.
You also posted on X about solitary confinement. Can you touch on that?
Yeah, solitary confinement is torture. When you look at the international law on it, the Nelson Mandela rules, the Geneva Conventions, solitary confinement is outlawed, prolonged solitary in 16 different states. It is defined as captivity of a human being for 22 hours or more a day in a cell. Prolonged solitary confinement is universally condemned around the world as torture, as a human rights violation. So anytime you keep somebody in solitary confinement, what you're doing is you're keeping them there to break their spirit, to break their soul, and to break the psychology of the mind. It is an egregious misuse of the judicial system. And by the way, Andrew and Tristan have not been convicted of any crime. The Fifth Amendment of the United States protects them. It's not the standard of cruel and unusual punishment that the Eighth Amendment gives. It is the Fifth Amendment person. No innocent person can be punished while they're being held for any proceeding. Innocent and proven guilty, solitary confinement is punishment. It should not happen. My understanding is we're working to get them out of there as soon as possible, but if they're left in there for reasons that we won't be able to talk about right now, I'll be sure to let you know in my Twitter post. Thank you very much, everybody. God bless you all. God bless Andrew and Tristan Tate. Have a fantastic day. We'll see you in a few weeks.